even the summer morning day or the day in the morning of a summer, it's going to be very good. By chance, it may fade, the nature changing course may fade, may change a bit. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives light to D. The flowers will bloom and turn out to be fruits later, or maybe the actual flowers. Hello, hi, namaste and welcome to Vidhyaashram, first grade college, the temple of excellence. I am Nandakishore, faculty of English in Vidhyaashram, MYSURU. In today's session, I am going to discuss one of the poems prescribed to MYSURU University B.A. and B.C.A. first semester students. The poem is titled as Shall I Compare Thee, written by William Shakespeare. Let us see something about the poet and the poem. This poem is written by William Shakespeare, popularly known as the national poet of England and the father of English literature. He has composed 154 sonnets. Out of 154 sonnets, this poem, titled as Shall I Compare Thee, is 18th poem, or simply known as it is a sonnet. What is sonnet here? Sonnet is 14-line poem. Remember, sonnet is 14-line poem. Usually, it will have a rhyme scheme. This sonnet is dedicated to one of his friends, W.H. And this friend is very mysterious. Even today, we don't have any authenticity about who this person is and who is W.H. This is a 14 lines poem and it has a rhyme scheme. I'm going to talk about what is a rhyme scheme and how to mark the rhyme scheme here. Let us deal with this poem right away. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? The very first line is questioning his friend, is asking his friend. He says, shall I compare thee? What is this thee here? It is you. It is Old English. It is archaic English. Shall I compare you to a summer's day? He says, summer's day. He doesn't want to compare his friend to maybe winter or rainy, where usually people face a lot of problem. They don't like to enjoy either of the seasons. And he says, summer is quite good. The early days or the morning days of summer, it is very good. And he says, shall I compare you to a summer's day? Thou is you are more lovely and more temperate. He says, you are more lovely and more temperate. He is giving in comparison to a summer's day. He says, even the summer morning day or the day in the morning of a summer, it's going to be very good, bright and shiny. But as the day progresses, he says it's going to be very hot. The scorching heat, and people cannot bear it. And he says, you are not like summer, but you are more temperate, lovely. He says, summer is going to be very horrible if there is excess of heat. Humidity is too much, but you are not like that. You are exactly opposite of it. And shall I compare you for a summer's day? And he says, rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. He says, even the rough winds during summer do shake the darling buds of May. It's the spring season, sort of, early summer, where the flowers will bloom and turn out to be fruits later, or maybe the actual flowers. Darling buds, buddings, these buds of May. He says, of May, this could be interpreted in two ways. These May flowers are very beautiful. They come in different colors. White, violet, yes, a sort of like light pinkish color. And he says, even that, the rough winds can shake the darling buds. He says, the darling, beautiful buds. And summer's leaves hath all too short a date. He says, even the summer duration hath is has. All too short a date. The least duration, the duration is going to be too short. It is not going to remain throughout the year, a calendar year. No. There will be soon another season which will affect the temperature, the seasonal changes. Yes, the enjoyment that you got in this season will be too short a date. It's going to end very soon. Sometime too hot, the eye of heaven shines. He says, sometime too hot. And he says, the eye of heaven shines. What is this eye here? Eye is sun. The sun, if you look up, the sun, it looks like the eye of heaven. He says, even the hot, it is very hot, and you should know that during the summer season, it is clear sky, and during the winter, it is going to be very gloomy, very cloudy. Yes, and so is in rainy season. But in summer, it's going to be too hot, and the temperature will be in its peak, and the eye of the heaven shines. It is shining, the golden color, sun is shining very bright, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. He says, often is his, very often, every now and then, his gold complexion dimmed. Whose complexion? The sun's complexion. How? By the cloud. Yes, by the seasonal changes. Very often, every 3 months or 4 months, it keeps changing. So you may have a short period of time to enjoy this summer season. And frequently there will be change in the season, and very often it keeps changing. It keeps losing its brightness. Why? Because there are clouds which will cover the sunshine, the sun rays. And then it says, every fair from fair sometimes declines. Fair, right? He is talking about the natural beauty, the nature beauty, and the beauty of a person here. Fair from fair sometimes declines. Even the natural beauty, you should know one thing, that during the spring season, everything blooms. And during the winter, everything collapses, everything fades, the beauty fades. The trees shed their leaves. It looks like the dead tree. And every fair from fair sometimes declines, and our beauty is no longer going to remain the same. We are going to decline as we grow old. We have to die. We are young today. You're born young. You're born soft. You're born beautiful. But as the days pass, you're going to lose your natural beauty. You're going to have wrinkles. You're going to have dark circles. You're going to lose your beauty, your gorgeousness. And you are going to grow old. Sometimes declines. And he says sometimes declines. He is not saying that it has to decline. In this case, sometimes it could be the natural beauty, not the beauty of a person. Everything he spoke in these lines, it talks about how well his friend compared to the natural things in and around. Yes, it changes, it dies, it lives, it takes birth again. That is the reason why he says, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? And once it comes down, as the poet speaks about, William Shakespeare is talking about his friend, he wants to compare, and as the poem grows, it develops. Try to observe this. How well it ends. That is, this arrow mark is drawn here. Right from the beginning, he just praises the natural world, and then he collapses. He brings down the nature with comparison to his friend, and then he moves on. By chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. By chance, you can grow old. Yes, you may lose your beauty, or nature's changing course. I told you there is seasonal changes. There is a change which happens. And untrimmed. This course, the change in the course remains throughout the same. Winter, rainy, yes, summer, it goes on. Summer, rainy and winter, it goes on. The occurrence, the course, it's like the wheel which just circles every now and then. Summer, rainy and winter. Summer, rainy and winter. Summer, rainy and winter. The course is untrimmed. It remains the same. And even, he says, by chance. But thy eternal summer shall not fade. By chance it may fade. The nature changing course may fade, may change a bit. But you're eternal. He says eternal, immortal. There is no death. Your eternal summer, he's saying summer, beauty, your beauty shall not fade. How? Nor lose possession of that fair thou hast. He says, nor lose possession. It's not going to lose your beauty of that fair, the change you ought to have. You're not going to lose it. We, immortals, we have to change ourselves as we grow old, but you're not going to change. Your beauty will not change. It's going to remain the same. Nor shall death brag, thou wanderest in his shade. He says, nor shall death brag. Death feel ego or show off. Even the death cannot show off that it's going to kill you. Thou your wanders, it's wandering. Yes, it wanders, roaming here and there, always trying to kill a person. The death is personified here. Death is given life, personified. And he says, even death cannot take away your life. You are eternal. When in eternal lines to time thou growest. He says, when in eternal lines. What is this eternal lines? The eternal lines is the poem. Imagine this poem is written in 17th century or 18th century. It's 21st century now. More than 300, 400 years ago, it is written. Yes, or maybe even longer or even before. We are talking about a person here, W.H. He still lives through this poem. That is what Shakespeare wants to tell. Eternal lines to time thou growest. As time goes on or grows, no matter how far you live, you're going to live in this poem throughout, eternal. Last two lines here, these are called couplets, rhyming couplets. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, he says, as long as you live, how long? As long as men can breathe, as long as the mankind is alive, or eyes can see. Eyes can see where there is a living creature, where there is life, till then you're going to be alive. And then he says, so long lives this. He says, so long. So long lives this, and this gives life to thee. As long as men live, as long as there is life, as long as an eye can see, you're going to be alive. So long lives this. This is poem, or it could be the friend, and this gives life to thee. This gives, what gives? The poem gives life to you, and you're going to live the eternal life. The life which you cannot imagine, the eternal life. Now just go back and try to observe the rhyme scheme here, day and May. Take these two lines and mark A. This is temperate. This is B. You start marking with alphabets, right? The letters. This is A and this is B. Since may and day sound similar, you mark as A. Temperate and date, it is B. You have marked and you are going to repeat the same thing if you pronounce this word and it sounds the same. A.B.A.B. Now this is different. There are no other words prior to this which sounds like day or temperate. It is different, so you're going to mark C. Dimmed, D. Shine, declines and shines. Remember, shines and declines. So we have already marked C. C, D, C. Now remember this, dimmed. Let us go to the next line. And untrimmed. This is D. Just try to observe A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. And next is fade. So it is E, austes, F, fade and shade, E, aused and grossed, F, EF, EF, and this is G, G, C and D, right? That is the rhyme scheme I spoke about. A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G, the Shakespearean rhyme scheme. Let us move on to the previous year's questions here. The poet's friend is compared to a summer day, right? It is compared to a summer day in the poem Shall I Compare Thee? What does the phrase the eye of heaven mean for Shakespeare? It is the sun. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives light to thee. This is asked for 5 marks question. Annotation. Critically analyze Shall I Compare Thee by Shakespeare. This will be asked for 10 marks. I hope you know how well to attempt these questions. Usually when you write or attempt the questions from annotation, first thing you have to do is you have to write about the poet and then what is his background, where is he from England, remember, and he has written 154 sonnets, and then you write about the poem. This is the 18th poem, yes, or sonnet, where the first line is considered as the title of this poem or sonnet. And then you go on explaining just the summary in 4 or 5 lines and then write these lines are taken from this poem, Shall I Compare Thee? And it talks about so and so. Why Shakespeare wants to immortalize or give the eternal life to his friend W.H., who happens to be a mystery man or mystery friend of Shakespeare. And you go on writing what these 2 lines indicates or depicts in this poem. Critically analyze Shall I Compare Thee by Shakespeare. Even for this question, you are going to write about poet and poem. It is a must to write about the poet and the poem. Only then you can score more marks out of 10. So that is it about today's session. I'm going to meet you in my next session with new topic. Until then, keep reading. Have a good day. Take care.